Hey, how you doing? Imagine you had $5. What would you do with that money? You drive down to a local Mickey D's, buy yourself a Happy Meal. You go to the convenience store and grab yourself a Coca-Cola and a bag of chips. Or you can be like me. You can build a computer with it. Today's video, the goal was to build a $5 gaming computer. I'd say that we satisfied that goal. But it is up to you. In this build, we will be showing the gaming performance of a $5 computer and everyday task performance. Let's begin. Starting off with our specs, we have 8GB of DDR3 RAM, a 350W Dell OEM power supply, a Dell Optiplex 390 motherboard, a 9800 GTX Plus, and an i3-2120. Let's go to the games. Starting, we have Team Fortress 2 at 1080p max. While an older game, I think it's a very nice one to start it off, seeing that it's still one of the most heavily played games on Steam. For our frames, we had minimums of 35, maximums of 260, and an average of 89 frames per second. Please, as usual, do not let the price fool you. This PC was fully capable of 1080p gameplay and playback. Truly an astounding PC, and we're only just getting started. Also, you can notice that everything in the game is not really lagging or stuttering whatsoever. Now, I'm still recording it without a capture card as usual, but somehow this PC was able to record without stuttering. It was truly remarkable and a wild thing to see from a 2008 GPU. Let's move to the next title. The second game we tested was Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Another title which is easy to run, but still holds up pretty nicely nowadays. A competitive title played by millions of people. Now at 1080p low, we were able to achieve minimums of 36, maximums of 260, and an average of 80 frames per second. I was even able to frag out a couple times, which, for my gameplay, that's pretty impressive. Throughout the game, I really did not notice many stutters. The minimums of 36 I believe were only found when dying. Though, if you were to do something similar to this, and you do experience those stutters, it'll probably only be in recording. As I previously mentioned, this was all recorded on the PC with no capture card, meaning that the PC was also able to play games and was able to record at the same time. Once again, astounding. Not astounding is my gameplay, but that's alright. While the PC can be improved, that cannot. Anyway, let's go ahead and move to the next title. The third game we tested today was one of my favorites, Royale. At 1080p low, we had a minimum of 37, a maximum of 93, and an average of 69 FPS. Nice. For a third-person shooter such as this, frames are very much so necessary. At 69 frames per second, you'd be relaxing very easily. That $5, I'd say, went a very long way. As usual, my gameplay is not the best, but it's still playable, and that's really all that matters. In a game like this, it came out in 2019, late 2019 if you want to get really specific, and whenever we were playing in the very beginning, it was not very optimized. But as the game has gone on and time has passed, it has become more and more optimized. Thankfully, it also still supports the DirectX 9, which is the DirectX version that is used and supported by this card, unlike the newer titles which support DirectX 11. Hats off to you, Royale. The next game I tested was League of Legends. Now, while I don't play this title too much, I still had an enjoyable time playing it, and at max settings I'd say that it looked very good. With minimums of 35, maximums of 260, and an average of 89 frames per second. I'd say a MOBA such as this game would be very enjoyable and really easy to play. A game such as this really does not require that high of a frame rate, at least in non-competitive gameplay. I'd say that you could have a very enjoyable and nice time playing this. Then again, it's League of Legends, and if any of you have experience with it, you probably will not have a fun time playing it, seeing that it is one of the worst games ever made. This is not my opinion, this is a fact. Anyways, I'd say that it really was not that bad. The 35 minimum, as usual, just happened when I was dying, and really just a very easy experience and just an enjoyable one. So, Not my favorite game, but still ran nice, and that's all that matters. On to the next title. The fifth title, another favorite of mine that we benched today, was Paladins. Now, at 1080p low, we had minimums of 36, a maximum of 151, and an average of 87 frames per second. With a game like this, as usual, frames are crucial, and I'd say that we are able to get them. When playing, I did not notice any major stutters, but of course, when dying, seems to be a common reoccurrence for this computer. I believe that whenever all the physics come together, it does not like it, especially whenever you're dying in game and having to reset the map. But, all in all, a very nice and enjoyable experience. For $5, can't go wrong, and for Royale, I think it may have even outperformed the original $10 computer that we did, so I'd say it's still pretty darn impressive. And with all that being said, I'd say we go ahead and move to the next title. The next game we tested was Modern Warfare 3, released in 2011, or 3 years after this card came out. Still though, it ran it phenomenally. With 1080p max, we had minimums of 79, maximums of 131, and an average of 103 frames per second. I was able to have crisp and clean gameplay, and it even outperformed the PlayStation 3, which was rivaling it at the time, or the Xbox 360 if you want to get down to it. Even whenever they booted it over to the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, this computer still outperformed it. And that is wild. Really another magnificent example of with older hardware, it really runs these older games well. And it's just a testament to how good the $5 gaming PC is. With all that being said and done, I have a little bit more time with gameplay left, so I'm going to go ahead and shamelessly plug the Discord, and going to go ahead and remind you all to like and subscribe if you liked the video, and leave a comment down below if you've done a similar build like this, or you need a helpful tip in the future whenever building something similar. Let's go on to the next game. As far as Minecraft goes, it was playable. Running the 1.8.9 edition, we were at 1080p fast, with a minimum of 81 FPS, a maximum of 557, an average of 208. Triple digits and over 100, that is crazy. While this version of Minecraft is a little bit older than the newest version, unfortunately the newest version will not run. This is due to the DX9 and 10 limitations. DirectX is just the physics engine and really the overall engine that the card itself works on, and being so old and dated that it does not have access to those new OpenGL renders and all those different things which allow the new titles to run as well as they do. Minecraft, of course, can still run on, any potato, but at the same time, for it to run well, that is still no easy feat, and really, it was an enjoyable experience. And it was really the first time I had hopped on Minecraft in a while, and I was able to have a blast doing so. So for $5, I'd say it was worth it. Anyway, let's go on to the next game. Right here, we have World of Tank Blitz. I really have never played this game too much before doing my benchmarks, but whenever I get to do my tests with it, I really have a good time. Now, at 1080p max settings, we had minimums of 45, maximums of 61, and an average of 60 frames per second. This is due to the fact that the game actually locks at 60 frames per second. Now, how the 61 happened, don't ask me, I have no idea. How the minimums of 45 happened, not so sure either, but the average of 60, that I do understand. During the entirety of the gameplay, everything was smooth and nice. The minimum requirements of running this game are pretty low, and since it still supports the DX9 feature, it made for very good and easy gameplay. A game like this is usually meant to be ran on like HP Stream laptops or really low-end hardware, so our 9800 GTX Plus really did not struggle with it whatsoever. Anyway, that's World of Tank Blitz, and I'd say we move on to the next title. Clone Hero was a title released back in 2017. It essentially just emulates old Guitar Hero games and allows you to play any type of custom song that you want to. With this game, we are able to run it at 1080p max with minimums of 117, maximums of 121, and an average of 119 frames per second. Being a free game, it really did hold up good, and on the $5 system, it had no problems with it whatsoever. Now, as you can tell, I did have problems playing, but that's just because it got a little too fast for me. But overall, and all in all, it was really a good experience, and I would recommend it. Another nice thing that you can do with this game is hook up a Guitar Hero guitar via a USB dongle, meaning that this $5 computer can essentially emulate any old console if you want to play Guitar Hero. Not to mention that all the songs are free, and they can all be custom as well. Another reason why this is such a good system. Old hardware and old titles, they just mix perfectly. And really, that's all it is. Now, here's the question. How does it do in YouTube playback? Let me tell you, it was pretty enjoyable. At 1080p, we were able to get 60 FPS, and that was already nice. But then we switched up to 4K. And I gotta say, it still ran beautifully. Even at such a high resolution, it was still able to render and do everything perfectly. Now, while the video may seem a little bit choppy, that's just due to the fact that it's sped up. When watching this in real time, it was very nice, crisp, and clear. When pulling up a 4K video, it worked just as well. In all honesty, it was a very good experience. I was also able to achieve Netflix, Hulu, and HBO on this. No issues whatsoever. Just another testament to the versatility and just how good this computer is. No matter what task or challenge you throw at it, it was able to perform. I think that's all that matters. That's why having a $5 computer is better than having an old PlayStation or an old Xbox. It's because all the things that you can do with it. Even though the GPU is 15 years old, it still stacks up impressively nowadays and it works fine. Now to the outro. Would I recommend this? I'd say I would. If you want to build something like this, you can also go to the Discord and I will help you make it. Anyway, this is Upcycled signing off, and good night.